Holy moly. Can you believe it? 40 years of the Physicians Committee. I can't believe it. Think about what you were doing 40 years ago. I certainly can't remember, but on this day, 40 years ago, the Physicians Committee came to life. Hi, welcome to our big 40th anniversary celebration here virtually. I'm the weight loss champion, Chuck Carroll. Thank you so very much for watching and downloading kind of in whatever country you're in tonight. We are literally going to be joined by you supporters from all over the world as we come together to celebrate all that we have accomplished thanks to you over the past 40 years. And what a tremendous evening we have on hand. And as we wait for more people to join us tonight, I want to encourage you. A lot of you are already doing this. Let us know where you're watching from tonight. Give us your name and where you're watching from tonight and how long you've been a supporter of the Physicians Committee. Put that in the chat. Let's get those good vibes going as we celebrate here. I want to say really quickly a huge shout out to Alicia and Tony who are with us tonight. Thank you guys so very much for your support. I see Dr. Barnard is here with us. You're going to hear from him as well as so many others tonight. And you're going to get to hear all about the backstory of the Physicians Committee and learn some stories that you probably haven't heard of before. And you're going to learn a lot of new faces, a lot of our colleagues here at the Physicians Committee who you may not be familiar with, but boy, the support that you give to the Physicians Committee, it goes right to the backbone to help make sure that we are truly helping to make the world a healthier place for us human beings and the animals and the environment as well. So here's what's coming up tonight. You're going to hear from Dr. Barnard. We've got maybe some celebrity guests coming up, but a whole lot of trivia as well. Bragging rights, big time bragging rights are on the line. We're not talking about prizes, but we are talking about a healthy amount of bragging rights. So if you could, and you want to play along, along at the home game. David, if you could put the instructions for everybody on the screen. There we go. Go to menti.com, MENTI.com, and enter the code 58134187. Or if you've got your cell phone with you, you can scan that QR code, and then you can play right along with us. And so when we ask the trivia question, boom, you can cast your vote right there. Nothing but bragging rights on the line, but you're going to learn some facts that are really going to blow your mind in a major, major fun way. So as you guys are doing that, I want to go ahead and get that first question up on the screen. That would be fantastic. All right, here it is. How many members and supporters are in the Physicians Committee family? From all over the world, these supporters are, as evidenced by everybody here in the chat tonight. Is it 350,000? Is it 700,000? Or is it 1 million and growing? A lot of votes already for 1 million, a lot for 700,000. We got a few on the low end of things at 350,000, a respectable number as well. But is it 1 million or more, 700,000 or more? I don't know, but maybe you do. We're going to give a couple of minutes for you guys to cast your vote, a couple of seconds. But as you all are casting your votes, I want to say hi to Mindy, who is joining us. She's the chair of our board here at the Physicians Committee. Also, Daniel checking in from New York, Natalie in Los Angeles, and Oren in Florida. Okay, so just a couple of more seconds here as we count up our votes. Is it 350,000 member supporters, 700,000 and growing, or is it 1 million and growing? David, if you could reveal the answer, please. If you guessed 1 million and growing, you are right. 1 million supporters. Can you believe it? And that is just a testament to all of the hard work that we have been doing here at the Physicians Committee. And it just speaks volumes to how many people believe in the mission of making the planet a healthier place for us human beings, animals, and the environment. We are doing such tremendous work. Again, none of which could be made possible without your support. So thank you, because tonight, as much as it is to honor all the hard work that we've accomplished, it's to honor you and to say thanks to you as well. Okay, you're going to be able to participate. We've got more trivia on the way, but let's officially kick off the festivities right now. And there is no better way to kick things off than to have a conversation with our good friend, the founder and president of the Physicians Committee, the one and only Dr. Neal Barnard.
The Physicians Committee has been leading with compassion for 40 years. From shutting down every animal laboratory in medical school curricula to empowering people to take charge of their own health.
Break up with bacon.
We've been prioritizing lives, human and animal, every step of the way. We've come a long way since 1985, when animal experiments were considered the gold standard. We've worked tirelessly to promote ethical research and to prove that science and kindness can coexist. In the beginning, our message of plant-based foods, vegan foods for health, seemed radical. Over the years, we've proven that plant-based nutrition can prevent and reverse our most deadly diseases, and our voice has become trusted by legislators, federal agencies, the medical community, and the public. Change happens faster when we work together. Our army of nearly 1 million dedicated members, combined with allies in the highest levels of decision-making, have made us an unstoppable force. Education is the key to unlocking minds and hearts. When people learn what happens behind laboratory doors, they want to take action. When we educate people about ethical research, human-based research, we see a cruelty-free future emerging. When we educate people about the power of nutrition, we create a tidal wave of change. Once we know, there's no going back. Our mission is to save lives. Over the past 40 years, we've worked together to save a child, a mouse, a chimpanzee, and entire communities around the globe. Our vision is to create a world where health and compassion are central. And thanks to you, we've come so far, touched millions of lives, and have set the stage for continuing this work to ensure a better future for all. It's hard to believe that we're here to celebrate 40 years. It feels like a lifetime of work, and it also feels like time has gone by in a blink. And what's extra special is that we're here together to reflect and celebrate on the moments and the people that make the Physicians Committee such a force in this movement to create a brighter and kinder world for people and for animals. We're sharing the space on this planet, and we need to take care of it and take care of each other too. And it's perfect timing for celebrating because in addition to the 40-year mark, last week we received huge news. You may remember, back in 2016, we worked with Senator Cory Booker to pass legislation requiring the EPA to develop and use non-animal methods. The law passed, the EPA took it in hand, and in 2019, EPA Administrator Andrew Wheeler announced practical goals for eliminating tests on mammals. Well, last week, the EPA reconfirmed its commitment to move away from animal testing, and the Food and Drug Administration that it too would be moving away from animal testing. So, yes, we are celebrating our 40 years, but we are celebrating this huge victory for science and for animals, and I want to recognize that this has been a truly nonpartisan effort. We're grateful to Senator Booker, to the EPA, to the FDA, for everybody for their continued work on this. And I want to thank the PCRM toxicologists and attorneys who've done the tough work of bringing the science forward and getting the parties to agree. And after decades of the hard fight, we're celebrating the path forward, where the future for testing and research does not involve animals. We have close to 1 million supporters to thank for getting us to this turning point. Working together, we've created an unstoppable movement. And when we hear, oh, it can't be done, we find a way. We've never backed down from tackling the tough issues, and because of that, we've brought about huge changes. The dietary guidelines for Americans, ending all animal experiments, nutrition education on a global level. Well, these are some of our immediate priorities. But before we focus on today, let's turn the clock back to 1985. I'd finished my training, I was new to medical practice, and launching the Physicians Committee, one of our first goals was to eliminate the use of animals in medical training. At the time, nearly every medical school was using dogs in educational exercises. It was cruel, it was pointless, and I realized that by replacing those animal laboratories with better teaching methods that don't involve animals, yes, you spare a lot of animals, but there's something else. When students learn without ever having to experiment on animals, they realize medical science doesn't depend on animal use. So we decided to address those dog labs. One by one, we worked with medical schools, Harvard, Yale, Stanford, one after another, and we were able to convince them to use modern methods, methods that were more relevant to human care. And in 2016, we reached our goal. Every medical school in the United States and Canada had eliminated every use of animals up to the MD degree. After that, we started working on residencies, getting animals out of pediatrics, then trauma training, then emergency medicine, and in surgery. In all those areas, we've been able to make huge progress in getting the animals out and getting better methods in. I have to say, in 1985, I wasn't envisioning today's version of PCRM, but we filled a need, and we have grown as opportunities to save animals and people continue to arise. We still fill a unique need, and there's no organization that combines scientific expertise with our dedication to saving lives. As Chuck mentioned, we're going to hear from people who have been influential in shaping PCRM's work, and who better to start than Elizabeth Baker, who played a lead role in the FDA victory, and Jill Eckert, who's the powerhouse behind so many of our educational efforts.
PCRM has been doing the hard work of ending animal use in science since the organization began. Our origin dates back to Dr. Barnard in medical school refusing to kill a dog in his training to become a doctor. Back then, it was commonplace, but we set out to stop it, and we succeeded. Thanks to our team and our supporters, it's now the case that across the US and Canada, animals are no longer killed for medical training. We're going to build on that success, and we're not going to stop until we end the use of animals in advanced training like surgical residencies and emergency medicine training. For surgical residencies, 222 of 285 surveyed programs are no longer using animals. That means there's still 63 programs that we need to shut down. For emergency medicine, 284 of 292 surveyed programs are no longer using animals. So there's still just 8 programs that need to make the switch. And you bet we're not going to stop until those numbers are at 0. Animal use in medical research and product testing has been pervasive for a long time. And this means that animals are used in just absurd and terrible ways in an attempt to understand what would happen when a human takes a certain product, or to learn about human health and disease. Now, we have known for a long time, and fortunately, more and more scientists now recognize that animals are just not good surrogates for humans. So not only is animal use in science horrendously unethical, there's just too many translational issues from differences among species. Now, the good news is non-animal science and technology has rapidly advanced. Now there are so many ways to do science that don't involve animals at all. It's not just about the ethics anymore. It's about doing better science and even making better business decisions. So with all these advantages, there's still numerous barriers that are just standing in the way of use of non-animal approaches. And so our experts are in the trenches, and we understand the issues, we identify the solutions, and we overcome those barriers. We're not just putting a Band-Aid on a problem, we're offering solutions to shape a better future. This often takes the form of changing policies through lobbying Congress or agencies directly. We've had awesome success over the years with the Environmental Protection Agency, the Food and Drug Administration, the National Institutes of Health, our federal Congress, and the California legislature. We also develop and evaluate non-animal approaches to ensure that all needs are covered. And we provide training, education, and outreach, because we've learned that many scientists built their foundations and their careers around using animals, and they need help to build skills and confidence in new approaches before they adopt them. Our team has so much integrity, and when we put our name behind something, it means something. And I have been so impressed with the work that our team has done and with the team that we've built over the years. We're creative and we're productive. We have vision, we plant seeds, we get people on board, and we change the world. The work of our team and our supporters is changing the course of science, making it much more compassionate, sensible, and even effective as we move away from these cruel methods toward methods that don't use animals that can both save human and animal lives. And with your support, we're going to keep pushing forward.
Congratulations to the Physicians Committee. 40 years of dedication to saving animals and people. When I joined the PCRM team almost 20 years ago, we used to debate whether to call plant-based diets vegetarian or vegan because vegan was not yet a household word. Would people even know what we were talking about? Well, jump forward, and now they sure know what vegan means. PCRM has been instrumental in getting vegan into the mainstream, and we've worked hard to raise public awareness through our novel programs like Food for Life, 21-Day Kickstart, One Healthy World, and getting our nutrition experts on the news, in articles, and even in films, wherever we could grab attention for the benefits of a vegan diet. It was a big deal at PCRM when we finally changed our vegetarian starter kit to vegan starter kit, and the world has followed. You can't go into a restaurant these days without seeing vegan choices on the menu, and even hardcore meat eaters, which we'll call pre-vegans, know what vegan stands for. Remember what it was like without the internet? PCRM does, and we were unsure what the internet would do for our mission. But for PCRM, it gave us wings, the ability to take vegan diets even further to the masses, exploding our reach. We have mobile apps and online classes used by hundreds, thousands of people. About 20 years ago, our work to expand globally became more urgent. We saw the consumption of animal products skyrocket in countries like China and India, where people had traditionally relied on plant-based staples. It was around the PCRM water cooler that we learned that Dr. Josh Xu spoke fluent Mandarin and would be eager to teach in China, and that Dr. Zishan Ali and Dr. Vinita Raman both spoke Hindi and would be eager to teach in India. And there began our global nutrition outreach in China and India, now expanded to South America as well. The epidemic of diabetes has hit tribal communities particularly hard. And in partnership with the former president and first lady of the Navajo Nation, Jonathan Yanez, we have brought life-saving information on how to harness traditional foods to heal diabetes. And we've expanded this across many tribal communities. I'm especially proud of running a pilot program in Broward County Public Schools, the 6th largest district in the country. We had heard from a school board member that a high school student had circulated a petition for vegan options, and would PCRM get involved? So we went down to Florida and pulled together a meeting of all the stakeholders, and a plan emerged where we would test 4 vegan meals in an elementary, middle, and high school. We saw veggie chili, veggie burger, beans and rice get gobbled up. This inspired food service directors all over the country to bring vegan options to the front of their cafeterias. And these items expanded across the entire district in Broward County. But as you know, hot dogs, pizza, and chicken nuggets still rule cafeterias in many schools across the country. So our work continues. Hospitals are in trouble too. The same place we come to heal serve foods like bacon and eggs, cheeseburgers, and pizza, and they welcome McDonald's and Chick-fil-A to their lobbies. The issues we face are more pressing and global than ever, but there's hope. Your generosity ensures that this critical work can continue. I am so thankful for the 40 years of leadership and support from our dedicated president, Dr. Neal Barnard, and thankful for the service of our incredibly talented staff that have built a great foundation for 40 more years of saving animals and people. Congratulations to the Physicians Committee.
And congratulations to you, Jill, for being a true mover and shaker. Nobody has truly embodied the Physicians Committee's mission more than Jill. She is right up there with Dr. Barnard. The work that she does behind the scenes, leading the nutrition team, is second to none. And if you guys think tonight is a party, just you wait until our big conference in August in Washington, D.C., the International Conference on Nutrition and Medicine. Jill is usually the mastermind behind this conference, which has grown into this beautiful, healthy behemoth of an event. So if you are interested in joining us this August, check out pcrm.org/events. We would love to see you there. I want to say hi to our President's Council members who are joining us tonight. Mark and Charlotte, Alicia and Christine are with us. Also, Food for Life instructor in Florida, Debbie, is with us. Hi, Debbie. Thanks for being here. Julie and Doug, they have been longtime Physicians Committee supporters dating back to the 1990s. They're also lifetime partners. Thank you, Julie and Doug, for being here. And Graciela in Wyoming. My goodness gracious. Thank you so very much for being here, Graciela. And also, I'd be remiss if I didn't say a special thank you to Emily Colon and Ali Swires for putting everything together tonight, working tirelessly to make this 40th anniversary event the magical cyber event that it is. All right, who's ready for a little more trivia? Big time bragging rights on the line. We did really good with the first one, but now let's see how you are with question number 2. How many physician members are part of the Physicians Committee? The same way you voted question 1. This is how you can vote in question 2. Is it 4,500? Is it 10,000? Is it 17,000? How many physician members are part of our team here at the Physicians Committee? I have a sneaking suspicion it's a pretty big number. Could it be 45? I see some people saying 10,000, some people saying 17,000, only a few saying 45,000. Now, I don't want to spoil it, but I would encourage everybody to think big here. I want you to think big. And just remember, we are celebrating 40 years tonight. That's a lot of time for physicians to get on board with the healthy plan. So just a couple of more seconds to cast your vote. Is it 4,500? Is it 10,000? Or is it 17,000? David, the results, please. Drum roll. If you guess 17,000, you're right. 17,000 and growing. We are truly changing the world. How great is that? 17,000 physician members here with us, giving their support to the Physicians Committee. That is so cool. All right, let's continue this celebration now. We are certainly going to hear from a lot more colleagues in the future, including the Vice President of Communications and my boss. Hi, Daniel DePa. Can't wait to hear from you. And boy, you want to talk about how the communications business has changed over the past 40 years. I mean, can you imagine beginning an organization without the help of social media? No Twitter, no Facebook, no Instagram, no TikTok, none of that. But yet, the Physicians Committee did that. And as we usher in our next 40 years, you better believe we're big on social media. So Daniel's going to talk to us about that. But we also have a lot of special messages from our President's Council and a few celebrities who also wanted to be part of our celebration tonight.
Happy 40th anniversary. Wow.
Congratulations, Neal and the Physicians Committee on 40 years of standing up for animals and people.
Hi, this is Mayim Bialik, and I just want to say congratulations, PCRM, on 40 years.
Congratulations, PCRM.
Congratulations, PCRM.
Congratulations, PCRM.
On 40 years.
On 40 years.
On 40 years.
On 40 years of compassion.
On 40 years of scientific progress.
On 40 years of preventative medicine.
40 years of collaboration.
40 years of education.
And 40 years of saving lives.
Saving lives.
Of saving lives.
Of saving lives.
Saving lives.
Congratulations, Neal and Physicians Committee, for all of the amazing work that you do for animals and humans.
Here's to not letting big pharma, the meat and dairy industries, and even the misguided medical community get in your way. And here's to many more years of putting compassion first.
You have been such an incredible force for saving lives and really for changing the way we think and understand so much about the world that we live in. So thank you. Congratulations. Happy anniversary.
One of my favorite PCR memories is from February 2010. Remember Snowmageddon? It was the morning of the second day of the blizzard. DC was mostly shut down, but a number of us trudged through whiteout conditions and somehow made our way into the office. When I arrived, Neal was already there. He had coffee brewing and managed to pick up bagels for everybody. Every time another frozen staffer showed up, we cheered, "You made it!" We still talk about that day. There was just something special about it. I think it speaks to the shared sense of purpose and commitment we have at PCRM. After all, the animals suffering in cages just up the road at NIH didn't get a snow day. Neal has been brewing coffee and toasting bagels for 40 years now. I am so thankful that he created this welcoming space for people from every profession, even accountants, to come together and work to make the world a kinder place for animals.
I have so many wonderful PCRM memories. Back in 2014, I was part of our federal Fluff Balls event on Capitol Hill. This event helped educate congressional staffers about animals used in regulatory testing and the alternatives to animal use. What made this event really stand out was that we brought in rescue rabbits, guinea pigs, and rats. That takes a conversation from being an abstraction to being about real animals and real lives. Animal rescue is near and dear to my heart, and I was able to help connect people in rescue groups with our staff members to bring the animals to the event. Legislators and their staffers were able to connect with the fluff balls, including the rats, who are amazing but often get a bad rap. PCRM does such a great job of putting on creative events to raise awareness and connect people to the work that we do.
In the past 20 years that I've been with PCRM, I've seen firsthand how Dr. Barnard and our staff manifest our core value of compassion. Years ago, we involved the entire staff to come up with shared values that embody our mission and vision, and they include urgency, professionalism, truth, innovation, and not surprisingly, compassion tops the list. Compassion towards people and animals is shown every day in our work, but we also practice compassion in the way our team members support each other when they need extra help and understanding. My role in HR has allowed me to witness many instances of this, and I'm grateful and proud to work for an organization that leads with compassion. I extend my heartfelt thanks to our supporters who make our work possible.
I'm Dr. Vanitha Raman, and I'm joining you today from Bangalore, India, where I just spoke with the staff at Prakhriya Hospital about the role of plant-based nutrition in the management and reversal of obesity and related conditions. Bangalore has always had a very special place in my heart because I spent my childhood here. And growing up here from ages 5 through 12, I had no idea where life would take me. I couldn't have envisioned that I would attend medical school or discover the power of plant-based nutrition or work for an amazing organization called the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine. And today I met a physician who heard me speak 5 years ago and since has gone plant-based herself and is incorporating plant-based nutrition in the care of her patients. Visiting my childhood city to deliver our life-saving message truly feels like I've come full circle.
When I think about my most memorable PCRM moment, I think about a collage of moments that are based on relationships. In my 20 years on staff, I've gotten to know our supporters pretty well, and we have grown this PCRM family into a powerhouse. Physicians Committee members have the biggest hearts, and I'm often bragging about our donors and their incredible passion for this work to save animals and people. The biggest thrill for me is when I can help get someone really excited about supporting this work. I can tell you about one couple I met quite a few years ago, and I asked them to support a special vegan starter kit project. Well, they let me know, oh no, that's way beyond our ability to donate, which is fine. And the wonderful thing is that over the years, as they become more familiar with our work and with our programs, they've also become bigger donors, sometimes stretching to help because they really feel a part of this mission and a part of our PCRM family. The funny thing is that they're giving much more today than I ever asked them for in the first place, and they have become a part of our legacy program. So that's my memorable moment. connecting our members to this important work that we're doing, creating this bond that's based on warm hearts and the desire to see a brighter future. PCRM is a really big family now, so there are lots of memorable moments of connection, and I believe that's what's going to keep us strong and moving forward in the next 40 years. Happy anniversary, Physicians Committee, and here's to family.
For 40 years, the Communications Department has been amplifying our life-saving message to help people and animals live longer, healthier lives, and to make sure as many people as possible hear that message loud and clear. Now, if we rewind back to 1985, cutting-edge tech meant typewriters and telephones. Fast forward to 2025, and we're using digital strategies we couldn't have dreamed of back then, like Instagram and influencers, apps, and even AI. Times have changed, but our department's mission hasn't. No matter the decade or the device, we've always adapted quickly. Whether we're reacting to headlines or launching bold campaigns, we move fast to reach the media, the public, and policymakers. From billboards in small towns to Times Square, to rallies that stop traffic and start conversations, getting animals out of medical education, and kicking fast food out of hospitals. Yes, hospitals have tried to argue that steak is healthy for the heart, to working with celebrities and public figures on advisory boards, PSAs, and policy change that grabs attention, placing op-eds and letters to the editor, landing coverage in newspapers like the New York Times, USA Today, radio, and TV. Remember Neal on Oprah, Ellen? Yep, we were there, always pushing the message forward. Now, when I joined the Physicians Committee 15 years ago, things looked a little different then. We often faxed our news releases. We didn't all have smartphones, and we made just a few videos a year, usually with me behind the camera. If you ever stumble across an old video where Neal looks unusually orange, that was me, pre-white balance skills. Today, we've got a full video team of professionals because almost everything we do now involves video, like this event. We've always been early adopters. We jump on the latest platforms as soon as they launch. Most recently, we joined Threads and Blue Sky. Those are new social media accounts. In the past year alone, we've reached more than 20 million people on social media. Over the past 4 decades, hundreds of millions. And I still remember when podcasts were just starting. Chuck Carroll had come by the office for a photo shoot while he was representing vegan athletes, and we ended up brainstorming the exam room on the spot. Now, it's one of the top nutrition podcasts in the world with millions of downloads. And Chuck travels the country hosting sold-out live events. As the digital world evolves, so do we. We've launched content in French and Spanish, and now work with a PR firm in India and South America. We stay on top of trends, tools, and tech so that we can meet people where they are and inspire action. The work continues, and so do we. We'll keep growing and innovating and finding new ways to connect. I don't know exactly what the future will bring, but we'll be ready. And I can't wait to see what that is.
I don't know what the future is either, but I do know that for us at the Physicians Committee, it is very bright. And I will tell you that this group of individuals who I get the privilege of working with is unlike any group I've ever had the privilege of interacting with in the past. I come from a much different world in the media, and then to come work with this group of individuals, with Dania and Betsy and Dr. Barnard, everybody who makes up the Physicians Committee is just an extraordinary group of superhuman beings who are truly mission and just driven to achieve the mission. And it's just a privilege and a thrill to even be here tonight to celebrate 40 incredible years. I mean, geez Louise, fax machines. Danny, I'm not even sure what those really are anymore. But my goodness. But it's not just a celebration of our anniversary tonight. It's not just our big birthday tonight. I understand that we have Ronnie who's watching in California tonight. It's Ronnie's birthday. So happy birthday, Ronnie. Thanks for celebrating with us today. And also Christine Goudreau was inspired by what Betsy had to say. She says she is going to donate today to our work. And then we've got Neely and Ron who are watching in Dallas, along with Dr. John Pippin. We've got Jenny in Mexico, Dr. Shapiro out in California, Rich in Maryland, Emmy and Ed in New Jersey, and Dr. B and Dr. M are watching with us tonight in Houston. So many people supporting us and helping to celebrate our big 40th anniversary. And again, 40 years, 40 incredible years would not be possible without you. So thank you all so very much for helping us celebrate our birthday. And again, happy birthday, Ronnie. Thanks for being here. All right, time for a little more trivia. What's a party without another trivia question? Question number 3 is on the way, but first, as a reminder, if you would like to play along, play the home game, go to menti.com. Just enter this code 58134187. Or if you have one of those smartphones that we did not have a lot of 15 years ago, go ahead and scan that QR code so you can play right along with us. And question number 3 is this, and this is a big one, my friends. What year did the National Institute of Health end chimpanzee experiments thanks to the actions of PCRM's members? Was it 2001, 2015, or 2024? We are looking for the year that NIH ended chimpanzee experiments thanks to our work at the Physicians Committee and your support, the hard work of PCRM's members. 2001, 2015, 2024, those are the answers. So we've got some people saying 2001, we've got a few saying 2024. A lot of you think that it's 2015, but a lot of headlines recently may be causing a little bit of confusion and thinking, well, maybe it was 2024 or was it 2001? I don't know. We're going to give a couple of more seconds for you all to cast your votes today. 2001, 2015, or 2024. David, let's see the answer. And the green check mark goes to 2015. Yeah, hard to believe that this was already 10 years ago. We have really done some incredible work 10 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, but that was the answer. We've got one more big trivia question for you tonight. Remember, big time bragging rights, so give yourself a pat on the back if you have gotten all 3 together. Now, I love to nerd out on the exam room, but we're going to nerd out tonight too. We are going to really dig into the science and legislative side of our work here at the Physicians Committee with some powerhouse staff members who head our clinical research department, our medical center, our legal department, and who head up our legislative work. Yeah, you better believe we're on Capitol Hill, my friends. So pleased to be enjoying Doctors Hannah Kaliova and Dr. Jim Loomis, as well as a man who I like to call the plant-based Perry Mason, Mark Kennedy Esquire. You're going to hear from him, as well as Andrew Bonovi, who is our pulse of all things healthy up on Capitol Hill. Dr. Kaliova, the stage is yours.
I became vegan when I was 14 years old. I simply wanted to stay healthy. And I soon realized that a vegan diet is a powerful tool in preventing and also treating chronic conditions. And that's why I went to medical school, to help as many people as possible. During my clinical rotations, I soon realized that the standard of care for people with diabetes was counting carbohydrates. That's right. And what happens when people just watch their carbs and cut down on bread and potatoes and rice? What are they mostly left up with? The truth is that they usually end up eating more meat and cheese, which make their diabetes even worse. So I decided to change this. At that time, there was no study showing the benefits of a plant-based diet for people with diabetes. So I decided to conduct one. Around this time, Dr. Neal Barnard published his first paper showing that a vegan diet is 3 times better for people with diabetes compared with the conventional carbohydrate counting approach. And a few years later, my study was published looking in more detail at the underlying mechanisms. We showed that a vegan diet is actually able to help with oxidative stress, which is the underlying cause of diabetes, but also other chronic conditions such as cardiovascular disease and cancer. It's actually able to also erase the diabetes-specific signature on the cell membranes, believe it or not. So with all these exciting findings, you would think that 2 studies might be enough to just change the dietary recommendations for people with diabetes, right? But the reality is that most healthcare professionals still don't know about this approach at all. And for those who hear about it, sometimes they're just skeptical. And in many cases, they're asking for more evidence, and they're asking for more mechanisms behind the dietary change and its effect on their body. Well, that's why our work is so critical, because we not only show the effectiveness of a vegan diet in reversing diabetes or at least significantly improving it, we also look at the underlying mechanisms. We're currently conducting a study with Yale University with Drs. Schulman and Peterson, who look at what happens when people go vegan. Using magnetic resonance spectroscopy, they look at the liver and muscle fat. Will this be one of the mechanisms why a vegan diet is so effective in tackling diabetes? Another study that we're conducting is in collaboration with Blue Cross Blue Shield of Minnesota. For this study, we're enrolling people with type 2 diabetes, and we're looking at the healthcare expenditures when people go vegan. Can we save money on healthcare expenditures when people go vegan? For this study, our aim is to get 300 people who will be on a vegan diet for 2 years, and we will have 600 people in the control group who will make no dietary changes. And we cannot wait to see the findings. We present the findings of our studies at medical conferences, and we also publish the papers in peer-reviewed medical journals, because we want as many healthcare professionals to hear about this approach. We want them to recommend the vegan diet to their patients as well. Together, we can change the future standards of care for people with diabetes and other health conditions. Thank you all for all your support of our critical work.
So my journey to the Barnard Medical Center started in the summer of 2011. I used to think eating healthy was low-fat dairy, lean meat, fruits and vegetables, and not too much ice cream, and found out that literally you can't outrun that mediocre diet. I tore my meniscus playing with my dog. I had to wait a few months to get surgery. I didn't do the rehab after surgery because doctors are terrible patients. Gained a ton of weight, and I became a patient. I developed sleep apnea, which triggered an irregular heart rhythm. I had prediabetes, high cholesterol, borderline blood pressure. None of my doctors back in St. Louis, where I lived at the time, ever talked to me about what a healthy diet and healthy lifestyle really was. And one day, I stumbled across the documentary Forks Over Knives on Netflix, which talked about the health benefits of a plant-based diet, something I had never learned about. I was on the faculty at Washington University there, looked up some of the research, and was really blown away, even in 2011, about the breadth and the depth of research around the health benefits of a plant-based vegan diet. So I made a commitment to transition to a plant-based diet and rehab my knee. And within 4 or 5 short months, I lost 50 pounds and reversed every single one of my chronic medical conditions. And once I had that knowledge, it fundamentally changed the way I practice medicine. But St. Louis is a great place to get sick, but not so much a great place to get well. It was very challenging to counsel patients and give them the resources they needed to make that transition to a plant-based diet. I didn't have a dietitian. Many of my colleagues didn't really believe that or didn't understand the power of plants. And some even accused me of malpractice by counseling my patients about, being able to reverse their diabetes on a plant-based diet. And one day, few years later, I stumbled across an ad on Facebook looking for a medical director at a brand new clinic that was opening in Washington, D.C., the Barnard Medical Center. So I sent in my application, and a couple months later, I had a new career path and moved here to Washington, D.C., and was here on opening day, if you will, at the Barnard Medical Center. And what an incredible journey it's been. Since we opened, we've seen over 12,000 patients and help them along their own personal journey to help them prevent, treat, and reverse many of the chronic diseases that we know a plant-based diet can help. We've taught hundreds of students from all over the world about the power of lifestyle and plant-based diet. I've had the opportunity to travel the world and speak both at medical conferences and to the lay public, again, sharing this message about how powerful a plant-based diet can be in preventing, treating, and reversing chronic diseases. And in fact, next month, I'm traveling to Romania and Moldova to speak at a conference sponsored by the Romanian Lifestyle Medicine Society, which was founded by a young doctor who rotated here through BMC several years ago and was so inspired by what she learned that she went back to found the Romanian Lifestyle Medicine Society. And none of this would have been possible without your support. And from the bottom of my heart, I am so thankful and grateful for you allowing me and us here at Barnard Medical Center to accomplish the things we've accomplished, and look forward to continuing this journey down the road. Thank you so much.
The Physicians Committee's 40th anniversary is my 20th anniversary with the organization. Over the years, I've seen a lot of progress, and that progress would not have been possible without your support. Every 5 years, the U.S. Department of Agriculture and the Department of Health and Human Services get together to issue a revised edition of the Dietary Guidelines for Americans. These guidelines are the foundation for all federal nutrition programs, so they greatly affect our work to get animals off of our plates. Although the guidelines improve with each edition, there have been occasions, 4 of them, in which we had to sue to keep things in line. One year, for example, we discovered that most of the members of the Dietary Guidelines Advisory Committee had financial ties to the meat, dairy, or egg industries. So we filed a federal lawsuit arguing that these financial conflicts of interest would lead to more unhealthful foods being included in the guidelines. The judge found that the agencies had violated 2 open government laws. And under court order, the USDA then revealed that the committee chair had received thousands of dollars from Nestle, maker of dairy products. We also use open government laws in our work to end the use of animals in medical training and research. Due to the Animal Welfare Act, the USDA collects a variety of revealing records, including inspection reports and enforcement actions and registration lists on hundreds of research facilities nationwide. And we rely on these records daily. But one night in 2017, the USDA shut down the public database that housed all of this valuable information, hindering the work of PCRM and others like us. So we filed a lawsuit, relying on a part of the Freedom of Information Act that requires federal agencies to proactively share certain categories of information. And we won, restoring access to this important information for everybody. Much of our litigation, though, focuses on protecting consumers from harm. In 2003, the dairy industry held a joint strategy meeting to address the opportunity of the obesity epidemic. And that's a real quote. Relying on the questionable work of a single researcher, dairy companies began cranking out advertisements falsely saying that consuming 3 servings of dairy per day would lead to weight loss. Now, the science didn't support this, nor did common sense. So we filed a false advertising petition with the Federal Trade Commission, and we filed a false labeling complaint with the Food and Drug Administration, and we filed a class action lawsuit. Now, days after the litigation, one company told us it would stop running the ads, but the others fought on, and there were a lot of others. On the first day in court, I counted 14 attorneys who had shown up to defend the deceptive ads. Eventually, the FTC responded to our petition by shutting down the misleading campaign. We were literally dancing in the halls. Another time, we sued milk manufacturers for failing to warn about lactose intolerance. We began those oral arguments by explaining to the judge that after infancy, mammals typically lose the ability to digest lactose, the sugar found in milk. For much of the world's population, drinking milk after this age leads to pain and discomfort, but consumers don't always know this. The milk industry has long known this, however, but has been incredibly successful at convincing schools and families to keep consuming milk. At this point, the judge interrupted us. I hated it, he said. You can be sure the cows do too. Now, I cannot imagine a federal judge saying something like that on the record in a hearing before PCRM existed. Nor can I imagine us being where we are today without your support. Thank you for standing with us for 4 decades through victories big and small.
From our inception, policy change has been at the heart of our work, and I'm proud to carry on this vital part of our mission, and I'm truly privileged to do the work that I do. Looking back at 40 years of policy change that the Physicians Committee has achieved, I marvel because some of our earliest victories involved getting the U.S. military to end particularly horrific experiments on dogs and cats. And it's hard to overstate how formidable an adversary the Department of Defense and the U.S. military can be. And I can only imagine what it must have been like for a new organization to speak truth to power about this cruelty. But it goes to show that when science is on your side, and when that science is coupled with compassion, well, real policy change can happen. So working here in Washington, D.C., you often hear the phrase, and I know I say it many times myself, is that if you don't have a seat at the table, then chances are you're on the menu. And what that I take that to mean is that you have to be part of the discussion. You have to be in the room where it happens in order to get anything done. And the Physicians Committee is there time and time again, clamoring to get a seat at the table if need be. Whether it's in Congress, the federal agencies, working with state and local governments, that's what we do here. Because if we aren't there, armed with the scientific evidence, if we aren't there telling NIH to end cruel animal experiments, if we aren't there telling USDA and HHS to update the dietary guidelines in favor of plant-based diets, and if we aren't there in the halls of Congress pushing to end animal testing, then who will be? And that answer is easy. It's going to be the industries and the institutions that benefit from the status quo. Sometimes our foes are still formidable, but now when I'm meeting with Congress, it's great to have not only the science at our side, but it's also great to have the support of our members. The Physicians Committee has a 40-year legacy, changing policy to improve science and people's health. I'm so proud of the work that we've done over the past 40 years, and I look forward to 40 more years of continuing to make the world a better place for animals and people alike.
The big kale on Capitol Hill, Andrew Bonovi. What an incredible story from him, man. It's so great. I love it when he's there. And of course, Mark Kennedy Esquire, the plant-based Perry Mason, just telling us about the extraordinary work he does. I love those guys. And I love the fact that we have a presence in Washington, D.C. with those two, man. Oh, just so good. I wanted to share a story from the chat. Indulge me real quick. I know that we're running a little bit over time, but Carrie in the chat really sums up why we do the work that we do on the nutrition side of things here at the Physicians Committee. In the chat, she writes, after surviving a heart attack at 31 years old, I was sent home with multiple prescriptions and no discussion of diet. I did my own research and found Dr. Esselstyn's book, Prevent and Reverse Heart Disease. I went vegan and got off all prescription meds. Thank you, PCRM, for all you do to educate doctors and people about the benefits of plant-based diets. That is why we do the work that we do. Carrie, so glad that you're still with us, and including to be here tonight as we celebrate our 40th anniversary. So again, thank you to everybody who's joining us and everybody who has supported our efforts over the last 40 years. We could not do this without you. I want to say a special hello to Dr. Christy Funk, who's tuning in tonight from California. What's up, Funker? Love you. Can't wait to see you in August at the big conference. Maria in New York, Susan Susan in Pennsylvania, Sol checking in all the way from Chile, and Beth over in England, well past her bedtime, no doubt. Namisha, who's watching tonight in Toronto, and Janie in Maryland. Truly a global celebration here as we head into our next 40 years here at the Physicians Committee. So we are in the home stretch, but we can't wrap up tonight without one more big trivia question tonight. Ready? And here's how you can participate. Menti.com. Use the code 5813-4187 or scan the QR code that is up there on your screen, 5813-4187 at menti.com, or use that QR code. And here is the final trivia question of the night with graphical support. What photo was featured on the first edition of our magazine, Good Medicine, way back in 1992? Yeah, who still has a copy of the first ever edition of Good Medicine that was put out there? Was it dairy on the cover? Was it pigs? Was it monkeys? Was it Dr. Barnard taking up some cover time? Dairy, pigs, monkeys, or Dr. Barnard, the first edition of Good Medicine. A lot of people right now are saying monkeys. We got quite a few votes for Dr. Barnard. We've got a few for pigs, not many for dairy. Is it pigs, monkeys, Dr. Barnard, or dairy? We'll give you just a couple of more seconds to cast your vote there, and then we'll close out the ballots. You guys have been 3 for 3 so far tonight. Can we make it a clean sweep? I don't know. David, what is the correct answer? Oh my goodness. Dairy. Dairy was on the cover of the first issue of Good Medicine way back in 1992. How about that? And that is something that, as you heard tonight, we are still banging the drum for. We are still championing to get dairy out of schools and help people learn that, yeah, milk does not do a body good. Does a body a lot of bad, as a matter of fact. So thank you guys so very much for participating tonight and helping us celebrate 40 big years and 40 more coming into the future. But you know what? Bonus question time. And it's not really trivia per se, but I would love it if everybody could participate. Again, go to menti.com, 5813-4187, or use that QR code that is on your screen, because it's not a trivia question, but it's an important question. And that question is, when you think of PCRM, what is one word that comes to mind? When you think of PCRM, just what is one word that comes to mind? We have some people saying compassion, others saying truth, others saying love. Angels is a good one. Teamwork, amen to that. Targeted, effective, unstoppable. Health, amen to that. Impactful. Justice, veganism, nutrition. So many people are focused in on compassion. I see that one shouting loud and proud. Persistence. Yes, we keep on beating on doors, and we will continue to do so until the end of time. Effective, health, ethical, sexy. I see sexy made the list. There you go. Health is sexy, my friends. Health and compassion are very sexy things. Credibility, love, ethical, unstoppable. It's just all these great words. There are no wrong answers. The Physicians Committee is all of that and then some. And that's just 40 years. What one word are you going to use to sum us up in another 40 years when we get back together? I don't know. But of course, you can think of that. And then join us August at the International Conference on Nutrition in Medicine. But listen, we can't end tonight without again hearing from our founder, our president, who has been our champion for 40 years and many more to come. One more time, let's take it home with Dr. Neal Barnard.
Thanks, Chuck, for being our host tonight. And we continue to be grateful to PCRM members who continue to partner with us on securing more victories for animals and people. Right now, we see enormous opportunity, and we'll work to leverage the momentum coming off of these victory announcements at the EPA and FDA to shut down all federally funded animal experiments. Yes, we continue to battle with Elon Musk to shut down Neuralink's brain experiments. We recently had a huge win with the dietary guidelines when the advisory committee issued a report that said, eat plants and drink water. Well, we're working hard to see that carried through into federal policy. Education has been the key to opening hearts and minds, and our educational reach continues to expand. PCRM has a presence in dozens of countries. And we continue to expand in India and in China, and we now offer virtual programs in multiple languages. By taking advantage of the latest technology, we're reaching people all over the world, from those who are vegan curious to people who are desperately in need of help for themselves or a loved one. When I look ahead, I continue to be hopeful and optimistic. We've seen an enormous shift in the past 40 years. I never could have imagined the impact the Physicians Committee would have had on the way we practice healthcare and the way we regard animals. And now that we've grown from a few white coats to an army, let's continue to think big, dream big, and do big things. Let's not slow down, let's not get distracted, because as much as we have good reasons to celebrate, we've still got a lot of work to do. Thank you again from the bottom of my heart. And here's to another 40.